Hi guys!
Hey y'all!
Welcome back to Y'all Hearing This. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Yes, and my name is Honeybee, or you can call me B, and whichever you choose, it's all right with
me. Or
you heard her. You heard her. Get it together.
That's right. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I was going for a water themed.
Yes, it was giving TLC waterfalls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Wayne's World. One of those.
Yes.
The dream sequence.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming back. We are focusing on 17 this week. So every Wednesday we pick one group of artists to look at deeper. We watch a couple MVs. We do a live and some dance practice, and then we do a guide. And now you're at the podcast, so welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yes, welcome back and thank you.
That's right.
Chad. Okay, so let's talk about this guide.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Just to throw it out there, and we had talked about it at the end of watching the guide video, that the guide was really focused on getting to know them as a group, and like not really focusing so much on like their current stats and all that stuff.
Yep.
And just to throw it out there, we did look it up just separately, and just short summary, they've released a bunch of EPs. They have released, I think it was 4 studio albums.
Yeah.
It was like 4 studio albums, 12 EPs, a compilation album, some reissues. But the coolest thing that I thought, was that they are the second group in K-pop history to have sold 15 million or more in sales.
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge. I've heard the name so many times, but I just had never checked them out before. So I was super excited to get into this week and that they won the podcast poll. So,
and that was I think that's a big thing to say too, since they debuted in 2015.
Yep, absolutely.
Like that's in 8 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's insanity. But let's get into it. So tell me what you thought. Like, tell me what your, what members stood out to you? Because they're all incredible.
Yeah.
But tell me what some of your picks were.
Woozy for sure. I just love him. He just, I don't know. There's a special little Woozy shaped place in my heart.
Yeah.
Even though I had never heard him sing or anything before, there was just something about him that I love him.
And Woozy is the one that's the producer as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Which
that was incredible.
Love him even more for that. And it sounds like he writes the lyrics and all sorts of, it was crazy.
Which, side note too, which I think is really cool, a lot of people associate producing with the people who create the beats or the people who
does that too.
Do the mastering, which is like what a producer does. But a producer can also be somebody who might not even touch any knobs or anything. They could be the somebody who comes up with the melody and stuff. They're considered a producer. So I think it's really dope to see like that he does do like the beat making, but he's like being a producer, him writing and coming up with lyrics, finding the right cadences and stuff. Like that's being a producer.
And he anytime you saw them in the studio, he was the one running the board.
Yes!
So when they were doing their vocals and things like that. So that's great. It's awesome when you have someone in the band in the group that can do that sort of thing. And I know not every group has the opportunity to do it, but it's awesome. And he played, they at least showed him playing the clarinet and the drums.
Yeah.
And I feel like the best producers are the people who can play multiple instruments because they understand the way different instruments sound because it's important, especially in a group of 13, to know how different voices sound together, I think. And I think that's a great basis for that,
I feel like it's like you're mastering your own wall of sound.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because what everything is supposed to fit.
Exactly.
And what I think is really cool about Muzi as well is that he had asked the producers or who they were working with to just show him little by little, and then he just started showing up with his own stuff. Like that is crazy. That is so dope.
And the power of finding new things, because you never know what you're going to be good at or not, but if you're curious and you ask questions, you never know what doors are going to unlock for you,
I feel that.
And it's just so awesome. Let me see who else. I mean, Hoshi for sure.
Look, I got a little cheat sheet because there's 13 members. I got their names up.
So Hoshi, he was the dancer and the choreographer.
Yeah.
which is awesome. I love that they I'm sure they have some choreographers too, but it's awesome that they have a member who does that. He was really awesome. I loved his personality too. I think he was part of the gag line they were calling him. I'm pretty sure. I loved Wanwoo's voice. I loved DK's voice. I loved all their voices. Who am I kidding? I loved S. Coops. I loved him being the dad and a good leader. You could tell he's a good leader.
Yeah.
And I loved that he was a great rapper, but then his
singing
voice was so pretty.
It was very angelic, but bold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just, there was something that was so just,
Yeah. And Soon Kwan too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
he had a beautiful voice. Beautiful, beautiful voice.
Yeah,
what about you?
I loved Soon Kwan. I loved his voice. I loved everything about him, his personality, the whole shebang. I really, really loved, I think it was Vernon's reactions and stuff like that. I was cracking up because I swear that is me.
Yeah.
And it was just so adorable. Him and Dino.
Yeah, Dino.
Oh my God.
That's true.
I was cracking. It was Dino was the laugh to Vernon's reactions.
Exactly.
If you would have put them, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
It's just the way he's facial expression is a facial expression representation.
It's so funny
of Dino's
because I feel
laugh.
the Macnays always are the savagest people in the groups. I'm trying to think of a group where that is not true, and I can't come up with one right now. They are the ones who come in and they're
right.
off your head in a second. It's that Macnay on top energy that I love.
I literally was laughing. I think that was the funniest thing to me, and also I really, really, really liked Wanwoo's voice. Y'all know I live for some deep voices. I live for my Tony Braxton, Anita Baker, Barry White, all those deep voices, and I absolutely just
No,
I was
great.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Cool.
Yeah. I liked them all, and the one thing that I really thought was super dope was the way that it's you have such a large group of people, and I forgot which member said it, but he was talking about you'd be lucky in life to have 2 or 3 good friends, and he's I have 12, and it's he said when we get old.
Who said that now? It's towards the beginning, and I can't remember.
I thought maybe it was I thought it was Joshua.
Oh, it might have been.
I thought, but I could be wrong.
I think you might be right there.
Okay, because what I liked about it is he made that comment and was when we get old and this is basically over and done with, we're still gonna hang out, we're still gonna get together, our families are gonna interact, we this is forever. And I'm that is absolutely incredible, because that's also kind of a side thing I feel I think about when I think of groups. It's they make you so happy that it's this has to last forever. And then it's just when it just makes you wonder what happens when it's all said and done. Perfect example, I think about the Spice Girls, you know what I mean? I think about Destiny's Child. I think about, those type of groups that I grew up on. And I'm just kind of dang, I wonder if they really are genuinely close after everything ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that it's so dope that they acknowledge that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which again goes hand in hand with what you had said previously about when you're a part of these K-pop groups and you go to these trainings and the camps and everything, you really do become close with the people you're working with, and it becomes a bond. It's another family. So I feel that's something that you can't make that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes them that stood out to me. It's so special.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of ATs. There's something about them, their personalities, that I really love. So the other day, Woo Young had hurt his ankle, and so he was sitting during their concert, and everyone just kept going over to him and singing with him and stuff like that. And then Jongho, they were going out to the other stage. Jongho came and carried him out And like, you know, he was standing and leaning on Hongjoon's shoulder. Like, you know, you could just tell. And at the end of, I think it was the end of the reel, they kind of do like, San does this one dance and everyone copies it. So he did like a heart push over to Woo Young. So everyone like copied him and sent their, I know. It was adorable.
See, that would have been like.
I did cry at that. I'll send you the reel.
Yeah, because that's adorable.
It's so sweet, and that's the same energy that I get from 17.
Yeah,
you know, and that brotherhood, that familyness. You know, that they may fight, they may have little squabbles or whatever. But even in that guide, you really didn't see much of that
at all.
At all. Like they may have days where you know they have their things or whatever,
right behind closed doors, but
for the most part, they like all just take care of each other.
Yeah, and they don't let it affect them.
Yeah, and I just find that like so inspiring that you can find like you know, I'm trying to think if I have 12 people that I could live with like constantly. I don't know that I do. Right. Well, granted, I know it's a different type of bond, you know, but
in circumstances, I get it.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when you like start so young and you know you're a trainee for a while with those same people,
right?
Because I'm set in my ways now, but
right.
But yeah, I just really just enjoyed their vibe. Like I really love their music too. But like I said at the beginning, that chaotic family kind of thing is my favorite.
It's like beautiful chaos.
It is. And you know that they're having the best time. Like you wouldn't want to hang out with them all the time, but like, you know.
Yeah. It's like, it makes you want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be part of the joke. What's going on? I want to be in on it. Like, you know what I mean?
I can be funny.
Right.
I can take care of people.
That's what I can do.
I can cook you food. Exactly.
Don't say that.
I can do.
Right.
We're the Stewart of K-pop.
No. Watch what I can do. Let me do it. Oh God. So another thing that I really liked about them is, even though they have subgroups. Well, first of all, I laugh because now I finally understand why they're called 17.
Yes. I knew it had something to do with the 13 and the 3 subgroups, but I didn't realize that the 1 was like all of them.
Yeah. So
I still
like adding
hate it, dudes. I hate it, but okay. I can't.
Why don't you like it?
There's something about like
Does it feel disorganized?
Yes.
Okay, because I figured that's what. For y'all don't know who's been watching this long, y'all know Kay is a organized, like, to the T. Okay.
I have a weird thing with numbers in my head. Like it's a symptom of OCD, which I've never been formally diagnosed, but I play with numbers in my head all the time. And so when things don't like add up, it just doesn't. I don't like it. But anyway, I know it's silly. Right. I understand it.
It's not silly. It's your reaction to the circumstances at hand.
I hate it.
Right. Hey, I
get it, but I hate it.
Right.
But 13 is my lucky number, so.
There it is.
That's right.
There's 13 boys in the group, child. Actually, let me take that back. Not 13 boys. There's 13 men in the group.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, yeah. At least they're all the oldest. The youngest was 99, so it was not.
Right. She's what, 24?
This year, so it's not too bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think the oldest was 95 once.
Yeah, a couple of them were 95.
Yeah,
actually,
Jungkook is the maknae of BTS, and he was born in 95. So
because I think it was S. Coops.
Yeah.
I don't want to pronounce his name wrong because it's in the order, oldest to youngest.
I believe Jongin and Joshua. I believe, yeah.
But yeah, I thought that they were incredible, and as I was sitting here and we were talking, and I was just kind of like, thinking about B's Corner. And I'm like, who could I relate them to? And so, brief summary, B's Nectar of the Week, or I just call it B's Corner, but B's Nectar of the Week is basically just a little section where I give you guys an example of a artist or group that's outside of the K-pop realm that relates to the artist that we're featuring that week. And I just, give you a little bio and explain why I think you guys would like them. And just, see how it goes hand in hand. And so we always kick it off with Kay trying to guess who she thinks it might be. Now, I'm gonna start something a little different.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to give you a little like hint as to why I picked this group.
Because I have no clue on this one.
So as to why I picked the group, right? So here we go.
Okay.
So I guess the hints that I will give you is the reason I picked this group is because it is a large member of it's a large
group of people.
Not like super large, but large for us in the US or whatever.
Okay.
They definitely have some subgroups.
Okay. All right.
And they have been known to produce their own stuff, not necessarily self-produced, but definitely like very, very hands-on.
Yeah.
And you know, just like how 17 is, you know, has like broken records with like the 15 million stuff, this group kind of kicked off that idea of breaking records and stuff as a group for our generation.
Okay.
So
now why can't I think of the name of the group? Because I think I know exactly what you're talking about because we just covered one of their subgroups, right? And why can't I think of the name of the... Oh, what is their name? What is their name? Bobby Brown's in it. And, what is the name of that group?
It's going to come to you.
I know.
It's going to come to you. Because you're on the right track. You're on the right track.
I know. Why can't I think of the name of the damn group? Oh, man. You're going to have to tell me because I'm just blanking.
I mean, I would tell you to use your telephone.
My telephone?
Is your telephone a Mrs. or Mr.? Is it Mr. Telephone Man? Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. It's gonna come to you.
I know.
You know it? Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just can't think of the name of the group.
The group that I am talking about this week is New Edition.
That's it, Jesus. I even knew it in the Belle Biv DeVoe.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you... Give me some, because you knew right after good. That's why I was like, wait a minute, y'all don't be sleeping on K. Listen, K is the alternative ace mix techno electronic queen. Okay, but don't sleep on it because sis knows her hip hop and R&B. Okay.
Well, you know.
Listen,
I might know names.
Okay. So, New Edition is a Boston-based R&B group that was seen as the inspiration of the boy bands that followed them during the 1980s and 1990s.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't NKOTB even by the same guy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, little side note, when things kind of went awry with New Edition, the creator of New Edition decided to create a white new edition, as they put it, which they should have put it as the pop edition or whatever. Yeah. But they called it the white edition. Although that Christmas album was questionable. That is something that we...
Oh, goodness.
So the group initially consists of Ralph, Bobby Brown. So it's Ralph Trevant, Bobby Brown, Ricky Bell, Michael Bivins, and Ronnie DeVoe. They released their come on, DeVoe. They released their debut album, Candy Girl, in 1983 after being discovered by producer Maurice Starr. Candy Girl, you're my world. You sound so sweet.
Don't they use that in I haven't seen it.
Your love each and every day. Oh my God.
Such a good song.
The album yielded the hits Candy Girl, Popcorn Love, and Is This the End? After a financial dispute, New Edition cut ties with Starr, and they released their second album, New Edition, in 1984, which featured their two biggest hits, Cool It Now, You Need to Cool It Now, oh, watch out. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
And then Mr. Telephone Man.
Yep.
In 1985, they released All for Love, which features the hits Count Me Out and A Little Bit of Love. And then a month later, they released their Christmas album, Christmas All Over the World. Before the end of 1985, the group decided to vote Bobby Brown out of the group for his disruptive behavior, which is very well known. And he did his own solo stuff. But then they invited the incomparable Johnny Gill, which Johnny Gill he has that super duper deep
Nice.
like Luther Vandross, Luther Vandross voice, but he can belt, and when he belts, he gets into this raw, almost like rocker type of huskiness, awesome. But it's such high, like up there, and he's incredible. But they brought him in 1987, and the quintet went on to create their most popular album, Heartbreak, with producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who are basically the creators of the Janet Jackson sound and so much of. So the album was released in June of 1988, and it was released on the same day as Bobby Brown's debut album, Don't Be Cruel.
That's funny.
And it featured their two biggest hits, If It Isn't Love, Why Do I Feel This? Why Does She Stay On My Mind? And it also has Can You Stand the Rain? Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Like, that was the jam. And then in 1990, Ralph Trevent, he ended up going solo, doing his own thing. Johnny Gill did his own thing. And then Belle Biv DeVoe was created, and they had their, hits all on their own. After a hiatus, I always say hiatus. All group members came back. All 6 members came back. Including Bobby Brown with 1996's Home Again, which
I remember that happening.
Yes. And they had the hit songs Hit Me Off on it. And the other song that was on that album, which is going to irk me, so I have to pull it up, is I'm Still in Love with You. Da, 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 I'm still in love with you. So the group ended up disbanding again. And then in 2014, they left their long-term label, MCA Records. They ended up signing to Bad Boy Records and released an album together with Bad Boy Records, but they ended up leaving after one album because it wasn't promoted. And then now they haven't had any new music out, but they ended up having a huge 3-part series about their whole life that came out in 2017 on BET called The New Edition Story, which I highly recommend everybody to watch. Nice. It literally, like, each section, it was like 2 hours long or something, or 3 hours long, and it literally breaks their whole career down, everything that happened in their solo careers, everything. And they also received the Hollywood Walk of Fame star, and they currently still tour to this day. They were actually just here recently.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and did you get to see them? I didn't get to go. The tickets were like sold out, but it's tough. All the original members, and Bobby Brown is on the tour right now, but he's been like dealing with some health issues. Gotcha. So he's been missing some shows, but like he'll come out for others, but they still keep him included. Nice. So, which is dope, because it just lets you know that them as a group of 6, they still kind of got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that that you're thinking there, because I feel like 17 is like chaos behind the scenes, but then when they're on, they've got that choreo. They're on, they're singing, they're doing whatever. You know what I mean? Like super like professional. Not that other people are unprofessional, but do you know what I mean? Like they give that vibe. They almost give a vibe of like an old like Motown group or something. A little bit. You know what I mean? Not sound. But like vibe, as in like they all move as one. They all like have their roles. They all have like that little like pizzazz or something to them.
Just something special.
Yeah, exactly. And New Edition, I feel like, is kind of like a newer Motown.
You
know what I mean? Very much.
Yeah.
You know, so I absolutely can see where you came with that for sure. And, you know, slightly on the sound too, because they definitely have like an R&B. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
And I think, you know, what I love about it is like it's very nostalgic. And when I think of 17, like they are this generation's dose of nostalgia. Like they're very modern, but yet still like nostalgic. Like, and I think, I don't know, I feel like that's what New Edition was like in their heyday. It was like all the boy bands that came after them. It was like they were like that new calling as a group. Like that's what the new formula of a group, you know what I mean? But
it
like
was something like the parents could still kind of like like vibe with.
Yeah, like they didn't feel like, oh, this is too young.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like 17 just right in the middle, like for new generation but also for like veteran music listeners and stuff. It's like they just cater to everybody.
Yeah.
Subgroups and as a whole group.
Yeah, we haven't heard, a ton of their music, of course, but yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, I can see multiple different types of people liking them, Yeah. What I just find so fascinating about K-pop in general is how they manage to mix so many voices and so many styles and so many, like, tones and, so I know they have subgroups too, but, like, when they're all on one song together, you're rapping, you're singing, you're doing, you know what I mean? And they have, of course, the performances too, but like all of them can do all of it,
right?
And they do,
right.
And it's just so insane to me, and that's why I think I like Uzi even more, because he's able, to come up with like a part for everyone. Like that's just cool. That's just insane.
I live for it. I really do.
I love it,
and it kind of makes me wonder, like. That idea, like just reading their bio or whatever, right? And it makes me think of how they talk about how the creator of New Edition, like that guy ended up creating another group trying to kind of combat, you know what I mean, back and forth. And it made me kind of wonder, and maybe this should be a little say what section.
All right.
Say what? You know what I'm saying? A little section where we just talk about whatever, just kind of close it out, you know what I'm saying?
And on a little,
right, cleanse the palate. Okay, girl. But it makes me wonder, like, have you seen just randomly in like different genres? Like, it makes me think about like, where else has that happened before? Like, think about your favorite bands and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Not necessarily saying it's from like the same producer or whatever, but like in some instances in K-pop, we won't say, allegedly, Blackpink.
Right.
To anyone.
Right. I know. Well, that wasn't Blackpink or 21's fault.
It's not. It's the company. It's strictly, and we're talking about the companies.
Yeah. Absolutely,
no,
please.
No, we're strictly talking about the companies. Just like in this situation, it was the creator of New Edition. It wasn't New Edition themselves.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that happen before? Or if you were to look at like certain groups where you think it might have happened.
Yeah.
Like I think of like, you know what I mean?
I think I'm sure that everyone puts together groups to become, so they look at the popular groups and then they come up with
their version of
it. I mean, how many copycats of BTS are out there? I'm sure, you know what I mean? But what I think has to happen is lightning doesn't strike twice,
Oh, that's a whole word.
Like BTS works because they're BTS, Blackpink works because they're Blackpink. ATEEZ works because they're ATEEZ, or Stray Kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can't, even if you had their twins, it still wouldn't work, There's just something like, I think what makes groups stand out to me for sure is having their own identity, and
just like 17, child.
Exactly. They have their own thing going on. Whether it's a concept, whether it's a storyline, whether it's whatever it is, I mean, the music has to be there too, of course, and the interaction with the members and things like that. But yeah, you have to do something different, because a million carbon, it's like listening to Kids Bop.
Yeah!
You know what I mean?
Come on, Kat! Kat over here dropping diamonds. Y'all better be catching all of them. Come on, let me catch it real quick. Wait, Kay! Bitch, wait, let me just...
why are you gonna do, and I don't mean like covers and stuff like that, because of course people, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're listening to a not as great version of something else, and it happens all the time, I'm sure, but I feel like the groups we've come across, I haven't, some of them might be similar, just have similar sounds or things like that, but I think they all have their own thing. There hasn't been one group I think that I've come across so far in K-pop that I've been like, nah.
Right. I also feel like too, like when you think of like, people like the producer or the creator of New Edition making like a carbon copy.
Yeah. And making a carbon like white copy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because
which was even
I'm sure it was to make it more palatable for everybody.
It was.
Else. You know what I mean? Because
and not for nothing, look, it worked.
New Edition, maybe R&B charts, white group, who knows?
No, and listen, I mean, it worked because New Edition crossed over, and you guys could definitely check it out in a couple of episodes before where they were featured as well as V's Nectar. Like, they literally took that same formula, but then they were able to capitalize and just blow up on it because of the circumstances. Yeah. But it kind of makes me like that idea, right? I guess the way that I look at it as like, well, does that really happen still like in here? It definitely does. Oh, yeah. But then it also makes me think of like, would you call it as something intentional, or would you look at it as it's like a fad? Like for instance, when the grunge era happened, you know what I'm saying? And Nirvana came out. But then it was like, then after Nirvana, you had like Garbage and you had Hole and you had like all these groups. And it's like, would you say that they're quote unquote copying the formula, or were they like, do you know what I mean? Like, is it like,
no,
you know what I mean?
And again, because I think the bands you mentioned had their own
like individual
thing.
Yeah.
It might have been a grunge sound, just like 17 might have an R&B sound.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily like they're not saying we are going to be blah,
because they were that
exactly.
way. Yeah.
That's
what I thought, because that I guess that was why like,
I think with bands too, it's a different thing.
Right.
Because they're usually not put together kind of like a group is. Facts. Usually it's people finding each other, you know, kind of thing. So I think there's already like a different dynamic, you know. More I'm not saying one's better than the other, but just it's a different dynamic, you know. I'm not saying every band is like that, because of course I'm sure some have been put together. But for the most part I think they're more individual because they're coming together as individuals and putting it together versus someone coming in and saying, well, you're great and you're great and you're great. Now mix, you know? Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So I think there can be, I think it definitely happens. And I think it happens intentionally for sure. I mean, how many like reality shows?
True story.
How many reality
shows?
The
bands.
Exactly. And like some of them work great because they're individuals and have enough different about them that like make it work.
Oh yeah, the American Idols, the
I mean,
X Factors.
We know maybe Voices. 2-3 people from The Voice. I couldn't tell you one.
Listen.
Winner, you know, and they all have beautiful voice. I used to watch it all the time. Right. But I don't think I've heard one thing from one of the winners.
Yeah.
One thing.
I think I know, like, I feel like I know more people who didn't win The Voice than the actual winners.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
it's just all... people voting as a whole is not necessarily the best way to choose.
I feel that. I think it also leaves it in the hands of the producers of the show because we don't get to see the votes and all that stuff. So, but that's a whole other.
I know that's a whole other say what.
But that's why I think not for nothing. I feel like that's why 17 works so well together is because like. They are still all individuals, but again, it's like that core. Like you can't fake that shit. You can't buy it. You can't.
Especially when your life is taped 24/7.
Yes, like you just can't. Like it has to come from within the group. Like, and it's all of them together. Yes. And honestly, if one person left, that core feeling, it'll still be there, but it won't be the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, that's something that, again, you can't make that up. And I think that's why they are so successful, because people gravitate towards that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Their fandom name is Carats, like diamond carrots. Yeah.
Oh,
see?
Isn't
that cute?
Come on, you better shine.
17 carats. I love it.
Shine bright like a diamond.
But yeah, we really enjoyed them. Yeah. I can't wait to get into more for sure. That's the good and bad thing about May has been we've gotten into like a bunch of new stuff, but then now there's so much stuff.
Right, and I was like, we gotta look more into it.
I know, but yeah, they're so good. I know we're gonna eventually have to like do revisits on groups or something. I don't know. Do like more of a deep dive. Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't worry. My little organizational brain is working as we speak.
We should do like a really good we should do like episodes like where are they now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where are they now?
Each one behind
edition.
the music.
Yeah. Yes, behind the sounds.
That's right.
Y'all hearing this edition.
That's right. That's right. I know.
I'm here for it.
Oh, but thank you guys so much, as always, for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you. Please let us know more about 17. Give us some more suggestions for sure.
Please do.
We really appreciate you guys hanging out.
We love you guys
We love you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.